Well, hello there, I'm Detroit. Have you missed me? Well, probably not, but I missed you. The reason for that is because I haven't recorded video in 2 weeks. Yeah, I like to record at least one video in advance, just in case situations like that happen. Don't worry about me, I'm all good. I'm fine, I'm healthy and quite happy at the moment. What happened is that I changed computers. Let me tell you a bit about that before I move on to today's drawing. Also, subscribe to my channel. So here we go, computer talk. Before, I used to work on a laptop. It was a decent one, but not very powerful. It was barely enough to use Photoshop and Premiere Pro, but that's it. And now I have a whole new PC. It's one that I built myself with my own two hands for the first time in my life. I mean, some of you probably have done that already at some point, but I haven't, so that's a huge accomplishment for me. I'm especially glad it worked immediately. I was so scared one of the components I bought over the better part of a year was faulty, or even worse, that I messed up the building process and broke a pin or something, but I didn't. And this new PC is so much better for drawing and editing videos. Just to give you a quick comparison, for one of my videos, which are typically 7 or 8 minutes long, the Premiere Pro export used to take about 3 hours. But now with my beast of a PC, it's less than 30 minutes for a whole video. So that's great, I'm way more productive now. Anyway, sorry about the techie, nerdy stuff. I'm back to the drawing now. So obviously I drew this in Photoshop. As always, I'm using my Wacom Intuos Pro M graphics tablet, and I really like that tablet. I mean, it's the only one I've ever owned or even tried, but I love it nonetheless. I think it's because it's A4 format, so it's basically the same size as the canvas is on my screen. And that's important, I think, because it's not one of those fancy tablets with a built-in screen like a Cintiq or something. No, it's just a black pad. So it's really hard to build your hand-eye coordination on it. I remember months of daily failures just to get comfortable enough to draw digitally. Because when you're so used to picking up a pen and drawing, it's really hard to learn from scratch again. But now I feel like I'm at a level where I can be confident enough. The level of control I have of my stylus is a bit still a bit below than that of a real pen, but it works, and I know it can only get better with time, so I'm happy with that. So about the drawing, you may have realized that the video is lacking the sketching process at the very beginning, and this is because I actually had that sketch for a while, for I think almost a year. I just never worked on it, besides sketching my idea at first so that I wouldn't forget it. But now I'm back, baby. The only problem is that I didn't remember the style and the special look I wanted the artwork to have. Did I want colored in lines or lineless, semi-realistic piece? I have no idea. And during the whole drawing process, I kept going back and forth, with or without the line art. God, I didn't know what to do with the drawing footage either. So this time I won't try to give you a course about line art or coloring. All of my talk and tutorial from last week's video just got thrown out of the window for this one. Well, it happens sometimes and it's fine. So in the end I kept some of the line art, for the woman features, but I deleted the water part. So the water looks semi-realistic, while the woman is a bit more defined with hard edges. The contrasts work well with the contrast of the color palette too. So basically this is a naked woman whose hair turns into flowing water. And there's some magical twirly water trails around her as well. So she's probably a goddess of the sea, like Mother Nature or something like that. I bet some people somewhere in the world worship her, and they're right to do so. Look at her, she's definitely powerful and full of magical life force. I would gladly tell you her name, but I can't really because it's not made for lowly humans like us to say. You know, sometimes the realm of gods is just out of your reach, you know? Enough storytelling. I really like the piece. When I look at it, sometimes I wish I'd done some things differently, like figuring out what style to use, like from the beginning. That would have saved me a lot of time instead of going back and forth between inking layers and color blocking layers. Maybe I would also change the colors a little bit. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the look of it, but I didn't experiment enough. Maybe instead of a high contrast palette between the salmon pink and the turquoise blue, I should have given a more realistic colors, like to both the water and the woman's skin. What else is there to say about this drawing? Oh yeah, the brushes. People are always interested in the Photoshop brushes. Let me remind you though that the brushes don't do the work for you at all. For me it's more about finding something that feels comfortable to use. I feel like I could draw with any brush as long as I can tweak the opacity and pressure and feathering myself. So the brush I used. 2 years ago I bought Jazza's brush pack, so I used that a lot. The main ones I use are the paintbrush, the inking brush and the erasers, like the soft and hard erasers. I'm not the biggest fan of the shapes of the brushes from Jazza's brush pack, but I like the presets that come with it. Usually I pick them as a tool and then I switch to another shape, but keeping the same pressure range, feathering, hardness and stuff. For all the coloring in this artwork I used only one brush, which was originally a rock texture, but that I made smaller. With the way I color things in, with the short directional strokes, it was perfect to make water patterns. For the inking, I used a hard black brush with only pressure sensitivity on the size turned on. I don't really remember where I got that brush from exactly, but it's the same I've been using forever now. I just love it. I love it so much, I love it nearly as much as I love my pet bunny, Henry IV. That is a great transition. Now I'm talking about my rabbit, but I still love him a lot more than my Photoshop brushes. That cute little bugger. The other day, he woke me up by trashing his football around the place. It's great, right? Usually he's pretty calm and tame, but sometimes, just sometimes, he gets a little crazy like this. At least he doesn't eat my electric cords or anything. Even though it's mostly because he can't reach them, or else my new PC would have been already dead. He's terrifying, but he's a really cute little bunny. He loves celery and carrot leaves. Which is good, because I don't like them, so we're not fighting over it. Yeah, he's so cute and cuddly though. Sometimes when I draw, he climbs up my legs and sits on my lap so I can pet him. He did that for at least half of today's drawing. Oh, by the way, I think this drawing is finished now. I guess I'm gonna stop talking, but first let's pan out to the full drawing. Quick reminder, you can click on the red button below to subscribe to my channel. It's free and you get a new drawing video every week, every Sunday without fail. Good deal, right? You can also check my description for all the links to my social media. I'd be glad to see you on Twitter or Instagram sometimes. Alright, that's all for me. As always, that was Détroit, and I'll see you next Sunday. Bye!